Hi, can you hear me, Chauncey?
Hey, yes, I can, Jeff.
Brilliant. Thanks everybody for coming to another edition of our DAO Hall for Proof of Good. This is being broadcast out, of course, across YouTube as well as Twitter. Please join, add comments into the comments section for the Q&A or all throughout the hour. And I think, unless there's any questions at the top of the hour, no, just a lot of people happy to be here. That's great. Hi, rah. Chauncey, we have Chauncey tonight from Angel Protocol. I don't know how we got you, but I'm so glad that you're here and kind of just wanted to let you talk to our community about Angel Protocol, what you're working on, everything that's kind of happening in your world right now, because our missions are so closely aligned. And as a recent applicant to our Oracle, as an Oracle, I just having kind of looked through that Oracle application, what you're doing is really exciting, and kind of wanted to give you the floor for as long as you like.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's my pleasure. Been connected with Proof of Good DAO for quite a while now, actually. So Jeremy and I have connected a bit. We've actually spoken on a panel together about Web3 and impact. And I love what Proof of Good's doing. I love the on-chain reputation aspect. I love recording good deeds on-chain, rewarding them, really helping highlight that. So I think it sets an example for other people to donate. And with Angel Protocol, we're trying to do, I wouldn't say a similar thing, but in a very similar vein, right? So with Angel Protocol, we're really infrastructure for the impact economy. And when I say that, I mean that we provide social enterprises like charities or impact organizations with smart impact investment vehicles like endowments. And we provide them with turnkey organization setup and fundraising pages. And we connect them to donors and investors through a shared marketplace. So within charity, which is really where we started our focus, we're able to onboard 165 different charities from all over the world through various fundraising and through our marketplace and different donations from some of our Angel Alliance partners, which I'll speak to in a bit. We've been able to raise $6 million for charities. And that's not just like spinning around in the crypto sphere. It's actually going out, enacting real world change. Got a great video that I'd love to share with your community, showing some of the disaster relief work going on in the Philippines, funded by our different charity partners and done by an on-the-ground NGO that was part of Angel Protocol, Yellow Boat of Hope. So for us, it's really just trying to capture all of the opportunity that the Web3 and DeFi space provide and make it very accessible for the impactful organizations doing the work on the ground, and make it very easy for people to give, both on an individual level as well as different giving partners we have in protocols, NFT projects, validators, and even non-crypto businesses altogether.
I love it. And, I think at the enterprise level, the attestations or the record of money in, money out, and like the real impact, which I know is something that Angel Protocol is like very mission aligned with, is high impact social good, right? It's fascinating and something that we've kind of mulled over as well. I'd love to hear a little bit more about some of the good deeds that you've proposed to our DAO as an Oracle are pretty exciting. But before that, maybe understanding a little bit more about like your philosophy on impact investing or like impactful social good, because that's something I know that our community and our DAO has wrestled with a little bit. I know it's kind of tough, but yeah, just how Angel Protocol kind of defines that and where you steer that ship.
Yeah, so I love that question, right? Because people get really caught up in definitions. And it's like, what is a nonprofit versus a B Corp versus like an impact organization that's for profit? And, what's more good or evil? What's better than the other? And at Angel, we really believe that impact is impact, right? And there's a spectrum, right? You have donations and grant funding where it's just like purely money given and no return expected. You also have impact investing where people put money up to fund important projects, or They provide liquidity for different types of projects like innovation funds and developing emerging markets, where people need these kinds of loans and liquidity and capital. So, on the different spectrums, I'd say it's all important impact. And I think that there's benefits to both sides. I don't think any one side has a claim to impact or what's more impactful. And a lot of the definitions that you'll hear, really, you'll find that it's very blended. You can find B Corps and C Corps that are more impactful than nonprofits. You can find nonprofits that run more efficiently as a business and social enterprise than some of these actual impact, like for-profit companies. So I think that definitions are fluid, but at the end of the day, impact is impact. And whether you're providing your funds for a tax receipt, whether you're doing it for the good feel of it, whether you're doing it for financial return, we want to turn all of those mechanisms to generate more good in the world. And we're quick to lean in where there are these kinds of things that can have a negative connotation, but ultimately are just tools. So an example is NFTs, which obviously Proof of Good is familiar with. Some people view them as a waste of resources, a waste of energy. People are spending money on frivolous things and avatar pictures. With an Angel, we looked at NFTs and we said, well, people like these rarity tiers. They like contributing and being able to show something off. So why don't we lean into that for good? Why don't we do a fundraiser? We'll do different tiers of rarity of NFTs based on how much people give. And through that mechanism, we're able to raise $1.5 million for climate change organizations. So it's like I will lean into using those mechanisms to generate more good every day of the week.
I love that. Yeah, we've similarly found utility within the NFT marketplace as well, and using those for governance right now, but also with kind of a tiered reward system for those that are, proving good in the world. And that's I just love the dovetailing between both projects here. So with respect to time, and I don't want to take too much of yours, what stood out to me, and I talked to you a little bit about this, were the good deeds, the validated good deeds for an Oracle project within Proof of Good DAO, like yourself, particularly governance grants, as well as the charity support and curation with a focus on staking for specific charities. This is something I have not heard of before. So if you could expound on that for our community, I think it's something really novel I haven't really seen in the marketplace before.
Absolutely. And just to speak on the synergy here, I think it's really powerful. So as an Oracle, we'll obviously be feeding donation data over to Proof of Good to see how much people are donating to impact organizations. Similarly, we could feed investment data for those investing into these different for-profit impact enterprises. But then to your point, there's governance staking. And with governance, one of the key things with Angel is we're really leaning into this idea of decentralized curation. And with this, there's a reputation element too. So while we're feeding you Oracle data for activities happening on Angel, we're very likely going to want to talk about reciprocating that and getting information from Proof of Good from your other Oracles to bring back so people can earn reputation on Angel as well. Right? Because this is where that composability gets so powerful. If you can use that reputation, have it leveraged in multiple systems. I just had a call with an organization called Firefly earlier this week. They're tokenizing volunteer hours on chain. They have a really cool model for how to do that. And, we talked to them about a similar concept of, hey, send us your data for volunteers. They can earn reputation on Angel based on those kinds of activities. But then, between reputation and this token curation mechanism, you can really get a good sense and signal for which are the organizations that have strong supporters and are able to interact with their community and generate that kind of support. So with the actual...
Sorry, go ahead. So you're, without detracting or sidebarring too much, so you're leaning headstrong into Vitalik's DSOC paper or article that just came out recently, then proof of reputation, proof of existence, a true decentralized Web3 kind of existence, or defined by Web3.
100%. And you didn't use the buzzword, which I'm kind of grateful for, because it's a little scary and we need to find a better word. But this whole concept of soul-bound tokens. I actually watched a conference, someone speaking who was part of the writing process for the paper, and someone asked her a question, and she was like, "So soul-bound tokens? I mean, not literally. We can't do that yet." And then continues on, like casually, completely casually. I'm like, that is terrifying. But anyway, sidebar. Yes, the idea of reputation on chain is huge, right? And not just financial credit score, DeFi type reputation that enables more types of collateral and financial systems, but the Web3 reputation, social reputation, right? Because that I think is really powerful. And when you start building up alliances of multiple different protocols, metaverses, NFT projects, that are all aligned around impact, feeding data amongst each other, then the reputation gets exponentially more powerful. And that's where soul-bound tokens are so limited today, where there's a lot of good, interesting, unique little silos, but they don't gain traction because there's this kind of chicken and egg problem, right? Where you need composability and the reputation to matter in multiple reputable places, or it's not meaningful. But how do you get that engine going? So I think with these kinds of partnerships, that's exactly how. That really, I think, kickstarts the whole flywheel. But no, I'm very excited about the possibilities that brings on chain.
As am I, and I didn't mean to sidebar you, but just it's really interesting conversation. I think I interrupted you or cut you short with regards to the staking of staking in support of specific charities, charity support, and curation. Also, I know we talked about governance, but that was the other part that I thought was pretty novel.
Yeah, so we use an actual token curation mechanism. So Halo is the token underpinning Angel Protocol. The majority of Halo supply is earmarked for donation matching. So when someone donates to an organization, they get some share of Halo in return. That Halo is actually split between the donor and the organization and staked to that specific charity. So every individual charity on Angel Protocol has its own bonding curve. Which really just means it rewards early and long-term supporters of a charity. So when you stake with a charity, what happens is you actually share in a portion of the yield generated by their endowment. And it's not like an extremely large share, but it is skin in the game. So you are actually connected with this charity, and you have a financial incentive for this charity to raise more funds. So now you are actually incentivized to be a fundraiser for the charity. The charity, in turn, is incentivized to be very transparent and engaged with their community. The more they share about the impact that they're creating, share financial transparency, share the types of elements that build trust between a nonprofit organization and the community, the more people are going to stake to them. So positive flywheel, and ultimately, the charities that rise to the top, effectively the charities that are most discoverable on the marketplace, are guided by the amount of people staking to them. And that's a weighted score. It's a little more complex than the simple, like pure, one-to-one token weighting, but a conversation for another call. But the other thing that curation signals is not only the quality of the charity and the amount of supporters they have, but it also helps determine how much funding they end up getting from our Angel Alliance partners. And this I'm really excited about because the Angel Alliance has grown beyond my wildest dreams. And it was almost an accident. It was started by one of the first protocols that joined it, Apollo DAO, where they just said, hey, we're going to give 1% of our revenue to Angel Protocol. And we were like, that's amazing. We're going to take this ball and run with it. And it's effectively CSR for the blockchain. And we now have 120 different I mentioned it earlier, but their protocols, their NFT projects, their validators, and they've all joined a giving pledge where they commit a portion of their revenue, can take the form of mint fees or royalty fees. Some protocols participate in our Locked for Good program. This is where they can donate their native protocol token. And normally, right, there's an incentive misalignment here. Protocols largely sit on their native token treasury. They could want to use that to generate impact. But the problem is if they put up a vote to decentralize governance to donate a portion of their token treasury and have that market sold and liquidated, that's going to be voted down 99 times out of 100. It's just a misalignment with the community. So what we do with Locked for Good is we accept native token donations, and we never touch the principal. We preserve the principal and actually grow it over time, because we take the tokens, we'll either stake them for governance yield, or we'll LP them for yield, depending on the token and what's most appropriate. That yield gets harvested, 25% compounds back into the position, growing the principal over time. The other 75% gets harvested for yield, sent to charities on Angel Protocol. So in this way, they create a generative giving engine, and it's in the best interest of their community because they're effectively permanently locking up token supply.
Right, and you've maintained the mission alignment while also proving yield or profit for those that are believing in the project, while giving them a stake in the project as well. Fascinating. I've got 1,000 questions. We could go on for an hour here, but with respect to time, we did have a question from our audience. Let's see. Do you find that the most of your impact investors are looking for realistic ROIs considering the space, or do you get your share of people expecting 100x?
Yeah, so we're really not trying to chase the more speculative crowd. Obviously token price appreciation, things like that are great. But our investment thesis is much more like an index fund. So the programmable DeFi funds, for charities, they're used for endowments. For impact investors, they can be customized to use any types of parameters, unlocking, so they can be freely open, used for crowdfunding, used for capital raises, etc. And then we connect to a variety of different DeFi protocols, and more where they're available, actually impact-oriented protocols. So there's this new movement to bring off-chain debt on-chain. So Goldfinch is a great example of this. But you can tap into yields there that are around, between 10 to 20%. So is that 100x yield? Is that, hey, I'm going to retire with my Lamborghini yield? No. Is it an incredibly competitive yield that beats any sort of traditional finance offer? Yes. And all the better, it actually generates more impact as it does it. So I would say there's no short answer, because impact investors are a spectrum. There's some that very much want to try and get a market rate return. And to be honest, that's difficult. Anyone who tells you that that's an easy thing is, trying to sell you something. And it's possible, but in general, right, there is a spectrum where you start sacrificing some market return, or you can also just be sacrificing, a certain safety floor. So they're more volatile impact investments. So they can have a high upside, but you're also taking on more risk. And all of that ties into the reputation system we talked about, where we're taking in reputations from other index field type protocols, aggregating that on our protocol. And so you can start to see who's supporting what types of funds, who's investing in what their track records are on chain, and being able to weight the quality of different impact investments based on that reputational signal.
I'm floored. This is something we've been wrestling with ourselves, and to hear it put in such poignant terms, I guess I'm just happy to know that somebody else is putting a lot of hours into figuring out how this works within the Web3 space as so diligently as yourself. I think, I don't want to take too much of your time again.
I'm good, man.
So unless there is I think like a demo or anything that you wanted to like screen share for the time being, how does the Proof of Good community get involved with Angel? Like, where do we go? What do we find? And how do we use?
Well, I think first and foremost, we should announce our Angel Alliance partnership, welcome you into the Alliance as a service partner. So there's different types of groups. There's people who pledge part of their revenue. There's people who do the LFG program. And then there's service partners who integrate us into their functionality. And just really cool shout out to one of our Angel Alliance partners, Talus. I just want to shout them out because they do an NFT marketplace. And they have the ability for people to create their own NFTs on the marketplace. Anytime someone uses that functionality, there's a prompt where they select how much they want to go to Angel Protocol from either the mint or the royalties. And so they built that into their front end UX. And, people can select 0, But people are always have that question of like, oh, do I want a portion of this to kick back to charity? And so those types of partnerships, service partnerships, can be just as impactful, if not more, than a straight giving partnership. But would love to make a co-marketing announcement around that. I think we both have really vibrant entities who would really benefit from meeting each other more. So maybe we can even do some kind of community town hall type thing on Twitter Spaces or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And we'll get into our Twitter Space schedule with our resident rock star Will Gaines, Living with Will. That's a little bit later in the program for tonight. Just a lot of people excited over here in the comments. If you could drop the link for the video that you mentioned before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll get that out there. Anything else before we cut you loose? Or you cut
I could talk the whole show, so you let me know, man. Here I'm going to share the video to Yellow Boat of Hope, and also share just a kind of intro video to Angel Protocol here.
All right, I'm going to drop those in the chat right now.
I can probably remove the timestamps from the end.
First, I think Yellow Hope has the timestamp at the end. I can remove the timestamp on the other.
But yeah, shout out to JJ Bonita and Yellow Boat of Hope. They do amazing work out there. They're an organization that started out to solve a really interesting problem that most people wouldn't think about. But the Philippines are an island nation, right? And so certain parts of the country, kids actually have to swim to school. And so, as you can imagine, it's very difficult to bring school supplies and books and material with you to school when you have to swim. So Yellow Boat started simply to become effectively a boat school bus for kids. And they would go to different islands and help bring the kids to school. And they expanded into all kinds of humanitarian work from there. But yeah, they're bringing food to people on the ground, building back houses and schools, rebuilding boats for fishermen because it's major parts of the economy down there. And they do great work. So I would check out their Twitter too. But yeah, Yellow Boat of Hope, great people.
We've been working in Indonesia and the Rizal mountainous regions and doing very much the same, getting like educators on hygiene, cleaning supplies to parents, school books and backpacks, and to students, and food for families also. So like that's not proof of good directly, but one of our other oracles whose mission statement is ending poverty has been doing a lot of work there in Botswana, South Africa as well. And it's just, I mean, talk about dovetail. So much of our work seems like really just aligned with one another. So I, with respect to time, that's the fourth time I've said that. But I don't want to keep you. You're absolutely welcome to stay on. We are waiting for Albert, but I just wanted to thank you again for coming on with us. I'm really looking forward to working together. And, I think the Web3 space really is a little bit less competitive and more, cohesive and congruent, and lets everybody get over together than maybe traditional crypto. And to hear about Angel Protocol and have you come here tonight and share with what you are doing is really impactful, and I think raises the spirits of everybody that's also in the space. So I just want to thank you for your time again, Chauncey.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. And just if I may click on that point, 100% agree. Abundance mindset permeates all over the space. And, on two angles, right? Like with impact, competing is kind of silly. If you're dealing with people who are earnest about their mission, what they're doing, there's not going to be competition there because you're going to want to create the most impact you can together. But also it's interesting, like the Web3 sense of things, how so much is open source and forkable and, community is moat and all this stuff. It really makes it so if you try and, hold on your grip too tightly, that sand's going to sip right through your hand. The more you try and hold on, the more the community and the ethos reject that, the more someone can just fork and do what you do and do it better. The whole space is too modular, and you can't get by with a greedy mindset because you're going to be overtaken by someone that appeals more to the community and what the people want.
I couldn't agree more. There's an interconnectedness that kind of transcends insular communities, which I'm, as a marketer, finding completely new and interesting compared with kind of traditional marketing as well, where communities moved like dig to Reddit kind of in groups. There's room for everyone. The water's warm, come on in. Gates open, come on in. Hans from our community in the Philippines just said Yellow Boat helped his sister into law school. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. A lot of feedback here. Well, I just
Laura, what are you still doing awake? You should be asleep. Isn't it like 4 a.m. where you are or something?
She's been out she's been staving field mice out in the yard from certain death, is my understanding, but I don't think it was at 3 a.m. Anyways, what sleep? All right, thanks again, Chauncey. You're welcome to stick around. Understand if you got to jump. I'm going to move into the marketing update because Albert is dealing with some stuff right now. He might jump on in a moment, but he might not.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Chauncey, so much. I look forward to working together, man. How great was that? Oh my gosh! Wow. It's so cool. It's amazing to hear Chauncey just talk about how they've defined a lot of things that we've been talking about in a different capacity as well, and putting some of those issues that we're not tackling with altruism on the blockchain. Anyways, I could go on and on. That was really great. I'll get into some marketing updates really quick, and then we will see if Albert will be able to join. If not, then we will table that until the next DAO Hall, because I know that he has some big updates for us. All right, so with marketing, hi everyone. Hi you. Let's see. The deck, the pitch deck is in final review. I know that we've heard this before. Some tokenomics issues to address. The advisors that we also work with and Chris works with will provide feedback before it's out for pitch, but it should be in the home stretch. Also, one issue that we've been looking at from a marketing perspective is the on-ramp. The What's in It for Me is a community member. Trying to address that for the all the different community channels with a focus on the Discord server for Proof of Good. And the issue there is, with Leyline as an oracle being allowed to award good points, there's something to go to the Discord server on Leyline on a daily level if you are looking for validation, or if you are ready to approve or validate others' good deeds, good acts. This is part of a larger conversation working to bifurcate or define where Proof of Good ends and where Leyline begins. And so as a protocol, there are some issues that need to be defined, whether or not we can be directly rewarding good deeds with good points, or sometime in the future, potentially good tokens. But that is all being sorted. But from a marketing perspective, what we'd like to do is define what brings people to Discord every day. That's the update there. The mascot competition. Let's see. Okay, so I know that there's been some delay with the announcement of the new mascot. For anybody that is a Proof of Good Genesis pack holder, you can go and look at that and see how you voted over on our snapshot and see what the second place was. Very excited about that. That's in the... that sounded a little Trumpy. I'm very excited about that. And we are working with a designer right now who's working to digitize that mascot image. Once we get a treatment or 2 treatments of that SVG or digital scalable asset, we'll be able to announce the winner and prop up and once again open up the voting of the naming competition. I understand that the previous naming competition was kind of cut short. And so after some deliberation with our community team, we decided that, you know, people may want to submit a different mascot name for our new mascot because what was submitted for one may not be true for the other, former, latter. So stay tuned for that. We expect to have the digitized version of that mascot by end of week. And onto the referral contest. So we have rewarded the referral contest winner. They've supplied a rights organization, a women's rights organization of their choice, and we're working through the payment before we make the announcement on that. So I will keep my lip buttoned on that until the accreditation and payment goes through, as well as the announcement. Last, the biggest focus, I think, with marketing is with Troll Game, who everybody who attended the DAO Hall 2 weeks ago would have seen the demo of Troll Game. And we're really excited to be integrating with Troll Game our good points for the time being, until potentially good tokens as well. I'm working on a marketing plan directly with some other contributors within the team to put together a way that co-markets and co-pollinates both projects and communities, as well as reward those with both barrel and NFTs for the project. And that is the marketing update for now. So that being said, I think it's probably reasonable to not expect Al is going to be able to make it tonight. So if there are any, thanks for our always supportive. Perfect. Thank you so much. If there is no questions right now, we'll move right on to events. Will is out there, and so he wasn't able to join this evening. So let me just give his quick updates. So as every week, as always, Monday through Friday, you've got Will's Twitter Spaces, which are at 4:20 Pacific Standard Time or Pacific Time. And thank you. And that's 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, happy hour returns over on Oracle Leyline, which is at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's 10 a.m. Pacific. And that is immediately followed by Game Day, which is over on the Proof of Good server. I'm sure that everybody who has attended knows the address for that. If not, it's the live stream for the good games over on the Proof of Good Discord channel. This week, the game will be Marbles on Stream, hosted by Paco at the helm over on Twitch. So stay tuned for the invite over to the Proof of Good Twitch channel, where we'll be playing Marbles on Stream, Chris Tucker's favorite game. I think Devin's favorite game also. And then we have an open call-in update for external events, including some of our work with the Social Impact series on Terra Zero, but I'll let Will update when we have, I'll let him give an update when there's updates specifically on that upcoming event. With that being said, we do have some POAPs tonight for those that are here on channel. Okay. So if anybody is POAP hunting tonight, Game of Chance says, Hans, you can head over to the Proof of Good Discord live stream chat on Discord and expect a message from the bot to collect your POAP for attending today's Proof of Good DAO Hall. With that being said, we can open it up to feedback Q&A A lot of woos, a lot of ha-has. I was really taken aback by all the info that Chauncey dropped. Okay, just going through these. Fire bad. That one must have been contextual. Thanks for the question, Chris. Hi, Janice. All right. I guess I think Albert probably isn't going to join tonight, so I'll leave it. Sorry, looking at messages from Chauncey. Oh, he'd love to be here. Wonderful. Anyways, thanks so much for everybody for coming to this week's DAO Hall. Albert's updates will just be more impactful at next DAO Hall. For anything, DM me directly, or anything that is project or product related over to Albert for the time being. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening or morning, and I'll see you at the next. No, I'll see you at the happy hour and the good games.